Welcome, miladies of inestimable value. Some people talk because they have something to say. Others talk because they have to say something. Plato. But here's the kicker. A Sigma female doesn't need you to say anything. She's already dissected your vibe, your intentions, and even your unspoken insecurities, all before you open your mouth. It's not magic, it's mastery. Studies show that 93% of communication is nonverbal, and Sigma females, they've turned that silent 93% into their playground. Here's the funny part. While you're nervously rehearsing your opening line in your head, she's already filed you under one of two categories: worth my time or good luck to the next person. By the time you manage a hi, she's practically written the rest of your script. So if you've ever wondered why you felt like she already knew you, buckle up. This is what Sigma females really know about you before you even get the chance to speak. Number one, your energy betrays your intentions. Your energy is like an invisible signature, and to a Sigma female, it's as loud and clear as a billboard. Before you even think of speaking, she's already absorbed everything. Your body language, movement, and presence are screaming about you. It's not just about how you stand or walk. It's the tension in your shoulders, the way your eyes dart around the room, or how you hold your hands. All those tiny subconscious signals combine to tell her exactly what you're about. If you're genuine, your energy feels calm and self-assured. If you're hiding something or trying too hard, there's a forced vibe she picks up on instantly. Desperation radiates like a neon sign, no matter how well you think you're concealing it. Confidence, however, is silent but undeniable. It's not in how loud you are or how big you make yourself look. It's in your comfort with simply being present. A Sigma female notices these differences in seconds because she's hyper-tuned to subtleties most people overlook. She doesn't judge, she just observes. Your energy tells her whether you're someone who operates with good intentions or someone whose motives might not align with their words. What you don't say speaks volumes, and she listens closely to that unspoken language. It's not personal, it's just how her mind works. She sees the story your energy tells before you even get the chance to speak, and if it doesn't match what eventually comes out of your mouth, you've already lost her interest. In her world, actions and the energy behind them will always outshine words. You're speaking long before you realize it, and she's already fluent in your unintentional language. Number two, your insecurities scream louder than your confidence. You can walk in with your head held high and a grin plastered on your face, but to a Sigma female, those little cracks in your facade are louder than a megaphone. She's not fooled by the surface-level confidence you might think you're projecting. That slight hesitation before you speak, the way your smile doesn't quite reach your eyes, or the over-the-top laugh that feels a bit too rehearsed, it all gives you away. She doesn't need you to admit your insecurities out loud. They're already on full display for someone who knows how to look beyond the obvious. What makes it more fascinating and terrifying, depending on your intentions, is that she's not just noticing these details, she's decoding them in real time. Forced bravado? She sees the fear of being overlooked, overcompensation. She spots the need for validation you're desperately trying to suppress. Even your posture, the way you shift your weight or stand just a little too stiffly, tells her whether you're comfortable in your own skin or trying to fake it till you make it. Here's the thing. She doesn't judge you for your insecurities. Everyone has them. What she does judge is how you handle them. Are you self-aware and working through your doubts, or are you hiding behind a performance hoping no one will notice? To her, confidence isn't about perfection. It's about authenticity. And when you try too hard to bury your insecurities, you're only amplifying them in her eyes. The irony? The more you pretend they're not there, the louder they scream. And trust me, she's already listening. Number three, the real reason you're engaging. When you approach a Sigma female, she doesn't just hear your words, she dissects them, along with the energy you bring and the timing of your move. Small talk might work with others, but for her, it's as transparent as glass. She knows there's always a deeper reason behind why someone decides to engage, and she's already picking it apart before you finished your first sentence. If you're driven by curiosity, It shows in the way you probe cautiously, your words calculated to avoid offending or revealing too much. If it's attraction, she notices the subtle shifts in your tone, the slightly longer than usual eye contact, and the effort to impress without seeming obvious, though it always is to her. Now, if there's an ulterior motive, that's where she sharpens her focus. A compliment that feels rehearsed, an offer that seems too good to be true, or even a casual question that's too pointed. She catches it all. It's not paranoia, it's pattern recognition. People often approach with layers of intent, but those layers don't last long under her scrutiny. She can tell if you're trying to network, fish for information, or test the waters for some personal gain. What makes it unnerving is that she won't call you out. She doesn't need to. She simply adapts her response, keeping you at arm's length if she senses you're not genuine. Polite, maybe. Engaged, never. You could try every charm in the book, but if your reasons for engaging don't align with authenticity, you'll hit a wall. Superficial pleasantries might buy you a moment, but she's not here for moments. She's here for truth. When you approach a Sigma female, she doesn't just hear your words, she dissects them, along with the energy you bring and the timing of your move. Small talk might work with others, but for her, it's as transparent as glass. She knows there's always a deeper reason behind why someone decides to engage, and she's already picking it apart before you finished your first sentence. If you're driven by curiosity, it shows in the way you probe cautiously, your words calculated to avoid offending or revealing too much. If it's attraction, she notices the subtle shifts in your tone, the slightly longer than usual eye contact, and the effort to impress without seeming obvious, though it always is to her. Now, if there's an ulterior motive, that's where she sharpens her focus. A compliment that feels rehearsed, an offer that seems too good to be true, or even a casual question that's too pointed, she catches it all. It's not paranoia, it's pattern recognition. People often approach with layers of intent, but those layers don't last long under her scrutiny. She can tell if you're trying to network, fish for information, or test the waters for some personal gain. What makes it unnerving is that she won't call you out. She doesn't need to. She simply adapts her response, keeping you at arm's length if she senses you're not genuine. Polite, maybe. Engaged, never. You could try every charm in the book, but if your reasons for engaging don't align with authenticity, you'll hit a wall. Superficial pleasantries might buy you a moment, but she's not here for moments. She's here for truth. Number 4, your level of emotional intelligence. A Sigma female doesn't need a long conversation to assess your emotional intelligence. She can gauge it in the way you navigate a room, respond to subtle cues, and handle moments of silence. Your eyes might betray you first. Are you scanning the room to avoid connecting, or are you present, observing without judgment? If you struggle to hold eye contact, she knows it's not just shyness, but a deeper discomfort with vulnerability or connection. Conversely, if you lock eyes too intensely, it screams of overcompensation, like you're trying to prove a confidence you don't truly feel. Your reactions to others reveal even more. Do you actually listen when someone speaks, or are you just waiting for your turn to talk? Are your responses thoughtful and empathetic, or do they feel rehearsed, like you're ticking off a social checklist? A Sigma female picks up on whether you're tuned into the emotions in the room or completely oblivious. She notices if you laugh at the wrong moment, miss the subtle shift in someone's tone, or fail to acknowledge an awkward pause. These aren't just accidents. They're windows into how emotionally aware or not you are. It's not that she's judging you for your level of emotional intelligence, it's more that it tells her how deep or shallow your interactions are likely to be. She values authenticity and connection, and if she senses you're not emotionally in sync with the moment, she's already mentally checking out. To her, emotional intelligence is less about being perfect and more about being present. Struggle with that, and she'll see it long before you realize you're giving it away. Number 5, your relationship with power. To a Sigma female, power isn't about titles, money, or dominance. It's about how you carry yourself when no one's watching, and how you treat people when no one can retaliate. Before you've even said a word, She's already observed the way you interact with others, and it tells her everything she needs to know about your relationship with power. If you're addicted to control, it's obvious in how you interrupt others, take up unnecessary space, or bulldoze conversations with your opinions. You don't have to announce you're in charge. Your need to dominate oozes from every subtle action, and to her, it reeks of insecurity. On the flip side, if you're desperate to prove yourself, that's just as easy for her to pick up. The over-explaining, the name-dropping, or the constant need to highlight your achievements doesn't impress her. It tells her you're still at war with your own self-worth. Sigma females value people who let their presence speak louder than their need for validation, and anything else feels exhausting to her. What she respects, though, is mutuality and equality. If you approach her as someone who genuinely values balanced interactions, where power isn't hoarded or flaunted but shared, she'll notice. It's in the small things, the way you listen, the way you treat the barista the same as the CEO, or how you handle disagreement without needing to win. These are the markers of someone who's comfortable in their own skin and doesn't see power as a weapon but as a responsibility. If you lack this, she'll know. And if you have it, you might just earn her respect, which, let's be honest, is a rarer kind of power altogether. Number 6, what you're trying to hide. To a Sigma female, your attempts to hide something are like a flashing neon sign. You might think you're subtle, changing the subject or steering the conversation away from certain areas, but she catches the hesitation in your tone or the shift in your body language instantly. It's not just the words you avoid, it's how your entire energy shifts when the conversation veers too close to what you're trying to bury. Whether it's a guilty pause, a nervous laugh, or a sudden need to deflect attention, every move you make gives her more insight than you realize. She's particularly sharp at spotting defensiveness. When you over-explain, crack a joke to dodge a serious question, or suddenly act uninterested in a topic. She knows there's something beneath the surface you don't want her to see. Even the way you avoid eye contact or fidget when a subject comes up is like a puzzle piece for her to place. And no, it's not that she's prying, she just reads the room and you better than most. What's unsettling is that she doesn't need you to spill your secrets to confirm her suspicions. She already sees the walls you've built, the stories you're not telling, and the weight of what you'd rather not reveal. It's not about judgment, it's about awareness. She understands that everyone has things they'd rather keep to themselves, but if you're hiding behind an elaborate facade, she'll sense it long before you've even crafted your excuse. In her world, trying too hard to conceal something is the same as shining a spotlight on it. And trust me, once she's seen through you, there's no going back. Number 7, your level of authenticity. To a Sigma female, authenticity isn't just a virtue, it's a non-negotiable. She has an almost eerie ability to sense when someone's trying too hard to project an image that doesn't align with who they truly are. Fake humility is one of the easiest giveaways. Those overly rehearsed lines about being lucky or blessed while you're clearly fishing for compliments don't fool her for a second. She sees through the humble brag and knows you're more interested in being praised than being real. Forced charm is another red flag she picks up on instantly. That overly polished way of speaking, the exaggerated laughter, or the compliments that feel like they've been copy-pasted from a guidebook on charisma. It all feels hollow to her. She notices when your charm is a performance rather than an extension of your personality, and it makes her wonder what you're trying to cover up. And let's not forget exaggerated positivity. While some might be drawn to the constant cheerleader energy, she finds it exhausting, and more importantly, she knows it's a mask. Nobody is upbeat 24/7, and pretending to be only makes you look more disconnected from reality. She notices the cracks in that overly sunny demeanor, the moments where the facade falters, and she knows there's more to your story than you're letting on. What makes her so sharp at detecting inauthenticity is her deep appreciation for people who are unapologetically themselves, flaws and all. To her, it's not about being perfect, it's about being real. When your words, actions, and energy don't line up, it's like watching a glitch in the matrix. She can't unsee it. And once she senses you're not being authentic, she quietly steps back because there's no point investing in someone who can't even be honest with themselves. Number 8. Your attachment style. A Sigma female doesn't need a therapy session with you to figure out your attachment style. It's written all over how you approach relationships and interactions. If you're overly eager to please, she picks up on it in the way you bend over backward to agree with her, laugh too hard at jokes that aren't even funny, or seem desperate to earn her approval. To her, this screams of someone who's chasing validation, likely shaped by past connections where love or acceptance felt conditional. She doesn't pity you, but she does see through the act, and it's not a good look. On the flip side, if you're the aloof type who keeps an emotional distance to maintain control, she senses that too. It's in the way you withhold vulnerability, make casual conversation feel like a chess match, or play it cool to the point of coldness. You might think this makes you look strong and independent, but to her, it's a sign of someone who's been hurt before and is now building walls instead of bridges. She respects independence, but not the kind that comes with an obvious fear of letting people in. Then there are those rare moments when she encounters someone genuinely balanced. Someone who's confident without being cocky, caring without being clingy, and self-aware enough to understand their emotional needs without projecting them onto others. That kind of presence catches her attention because it's so uncommon in a world where most people are either overcompensating or under-delivering. She doesn't analyze your attachment style to judge you. It's more of an instinctual read. How you've been shaped by your past connections tells her exactly how you'll likely behave in future ones. And if your style isn't aligned with authenticity and mutual respect, she's already emotionally checked out before you even know it. Number 9. The emotional baggage you carry. To a Sigma female, emotional baggage is as visible as a suitcase you're dragging behind you, no matter how carefully you think you've hidden it. It's not just in the things you say, but in the pauses between your words, the sighs that escape when you think no one's paying attention, and the way your shoulders slump when certain topics come up. You might think you're doing a good job masking it, but to her, it's all there, playing out in micro-expressions and unspoken energy. The hesitations in your responses speak louder than your words. If you avoid certain subjects, or your tone changes when the conversation brushes too close to sensitive areas, she doesn't need to ask questions to figure out what's weighing on you. A sudden shift in your demeanor, be it defensiveness, a forced laugh, or an awkward attempt to change the topic, tells her there's something unresolved. Even your body language, like crossing your arms when feeling vulnerable or glancing away during a heartfelt moment, gives her a glimpse into the emotional burdens you carry. What makes her ability to spot this so unsettling is that she doesn't need details to understand the depth of it. She's not prying, nor is she judgmental. She simply observes what others overlook. And while she's empathetic, she's not necessarily going to coddle you. If anything, your unspoken baggage helps her decide how much of herself she's willing to invest in you. She values people who are aware of their scars and working through them, not those who let unresolved emotions quietly control their actions. To her, emotional baggage isn't the problem. It's the refusal to acknowledge it that raises a red flag. And if she senses you're weighed down but unwilling to unpack, she won't stick around to carry the load with you. Number 10. Whether you're intimidated by her. A Sigma female can tell within seconds if you're intimidated by her, and no, you don't have to say a word. It's in the flicker of hesitation when you meet her gaze, the subtle shift in your tone when you address her, or the way your body language betrays your inner tension. Do your shoulders tighten ever so slightly, or does your posture shrink as though you're second-guessing yourself in her presence? She sees it all, and she already knows what it means. What makes this dynamic fascinating is that she doesn't set out to intimidate. It's simply the energy she carries. Her confidence isn't loud, but it's firm, and for someone who's unsure of themselves, that kind of quiet power can feel like a spotlight exposing their insecurities. Maybe you fumble your words or suddenly act overly agreeable, trying too hard to earn her favor. Or perhaps you go the opposite route, becoming overly assertive, as if convincing yourself that you're on her level. Either way, she notices, and it tells her more about you than you'd probably like. The real test is how you respond to her presence. Are you the kind who shrinks, letting your self-doubt dictate the interaction? Or do you step up, not with arrogance, but with grounded confidence that matches her energy? That response determines how she sees you. Intimidation doesn't impress her. It signals that you're either too insecure to handle her independence or too reactive to her strength. But if you can hold your own, if you can meet her level without trying to overshadow or shrink yourself, that's when you earn her respect. She doesn't need you to be fearless. She needs you to be authentic. If her presence makes you waver, trust me, she already knows. The eyes may be the windows to the soul, but to a Sigma female, your entire being is an open book, whether you meant it to be or not. Her ability to dissect what lies beneath the surface isn't born from judgment, but from a natural intuition honed by independence, self-awareness, and a refusal to waste time on shallow facades. Every glance, every pause, every subtle action tells her who you are long before your words attempt to. And while this might feel unsettling, it's also an opportunity, a chance to be seen, really seen, by someone who values authenticity above all else. What makes a Sigma female so captivating isn't just her sharp perception, it's what she does with it. She doesn't call out your insecurities, expose your fears, or weaponize what she's noticed. Instead, she decides quietly, calmly, whether or not you're worth her time. For some, that realization can be humbling. For others, it's empowering. Either way, there's no fooling her. At the end of the day, the question isn't whether you're ready to speak to a Sigma female, it's whether you're ready to be someone she's willing to listen to. Because if there's one thing she knows before you even open your mouth, it's this: your energy will always reveal the truth, whether you're prepared for it or not. If this resonated with you, don't just sit on it. Let's keep the energy flowing. Hit that subscribe button to stay connected to more content that dives deeper, hits harder, and keeps you intrigued. And if you enjoyed this, show some love by giving it a thumbs up. It's the easiest way to let us know we're on the right track. Have thoughts? Drop a comment below and let us know what stood out to you the most. We'd love to hear your perspective. Oh, and don't keep all this good stuff to yourself. Share this with someone who needs to hear it. After all, what's better than sparking a conversation that gets people thinking? Thank you for being here. Your support makes all the difference. See you in the next one. Thanks for watching, my ladies. See you in the next video. Bye for now, and God bless.